What's going on, Trojan family? Welcome to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. We are Los Angeles Sports. This is your daily dose of USC Trojans news. As promised, I want to get into the full Rivals new updated Rivals 300 ranking for your Trojans 2026 class, 31 commits. A lot of big changes obviously came from it. Again, this is not the Bible. These are recruiting websites where human beings are making analytical decisions and ranking these young kids up and down and all over the place. So a lot of big changes, a lot of volatility with this new merger between On3 and Rivals. We're seeing now this Rivals brand. Their rankings are very kind of different than what we see in 24/7 and ESPN, like big gaps and changes. And at the end of the day, like, doesn't really matter. But, you know, it's what we have to go on when there's so many players to recruit and talk about. Now, the programs, coaches, USC specifically, I've talked to Coach Henny about this. They're obviously not using websites to do their evaluations. They have their own evaluation process and their own rankings and their own big boards. So to them, it doesn't matter that these kids move up and down because they've already done their due diligence and have their own kind of system. So if anyone thinks that like maybe a program actually uses one of these sites, which, hey, if a program does that, you've got bigger issues. But anyway, so in these new rankings, Rivals 300, USC has 17 of their 31 commits within the top 300 players in the country, which I think is very solid when you consider a lot of classes out there will not even get 17 total commits, and the Trojans have 17 in the top 300. So that is very impressive. Their number one commit right now, based on, again, this is just based on Rivals, so I'm not going off, I'm not comparing, I'm not doing industry rankings, not doing 24/7. This is just Rivals new. I just want to go through it because it's fresh and new within this week. Luke Wafel was a big mover, moved up in the Rivals. He's now the 8th overall ranked player, gets his 5th star, number 1 in the state of New Jersey, 4th overall edge. Just shows you how many good edges are in this class. He's the 4th edge and the 8th overall player. So he, per Rivals, is the number 1 player in their class. Now, again, this is just another sign of discrepancy, and I think Luke Wafel, is great and fantastic get, obviously, the Trojans, but he's the 8th overall player with Rivals. He's the 115th overall player with 24/7 and the 104th overall player with ESPN. Take that for what you want. That's kind of the discrepancy that worked into good favor for USC. Now we have some that are not in as good favor. The number 2 player, Mark Bowman, lost a 5th star from Rivals. He's a 4-star. He's still a consensus 5-star. Rivals has him as the number 2 tight end in the class, number 21 overall national player. Dude's a baller, 1 or 2. Take it, whoever you talk to. But from reclassifying to 27 to be 1 or 2, we all know this is like the prize jewel of the class. A lot of them are. It's hard to just say. Like last year, it was like, okay, Huston Longstreet and Jakeem Stewart are like the 2 prize jewels. Like a lot of great players as well in the whole 25 class, but it's pretty clear those were the 2. Like in this class, depending who you talk to, it could be Luke Wafel, it could be Mark Bowman, it could be Jamian Winfield, it could be Kenai Pepe, it could be Talanoa Ely. A lot of different jewels in this class. So number 3 now in the class in Rivals, Jamian Winfield. He's the 80th ranked player for them, the 9th at the defensive line, the 11th in the state of Texas. Winfield's a guy that's rose up pretty big. He's fairly consensus across the 3 states, or fairly like, different 12 spots, nothing like drastic like what Luke Wafel's was. So Jamian Winfield locked in, another great commit that Coach Henny and Coach Nua and obviously Coach Riley and GM Chad Bowden were able to secure. I'm not going to go every player, don't worry. We're not going 31 players, but just going to kind of talk about the top 300. Albert Hill comes in 4th now. He is the 86th ranked overall player, 10th at his position. ESPN still has him as the number 1 player at his position, 5-star, 16th overall player nationally. So ESPN is the highest on him. Rivals is actually a little higher on him than 24/7. 24/7 Sports has him as the 12th ranked corner and 107 nationals. So, decent movement there for Albert Hill. Again, great player. The industry ranking or industry industry has him as the number 4 corner in the class. Bowie Feaster comes in 5th, 12th receiver in the class for Rivals, 4-star, 101 ranked national player. I still am fired up about this commitment. I think this was a really, really good one. The Trojans were able to secure late. Obviously, kind of came to the party a little later too, and got it done, beating out the in-state Texas schools, Oregon, some of the Florida schools, LSU, obviously where he's originally from. So this was just another great secure, and comes in almost just in the top 100. Again, another reclassify from the 2027 class. Vlad Diakonov comes in 6th. He was a big riser in the Rivals rankings, very different from 24/7 and ESPN. So Rivals now has him as the 102nd ranked player in the class, 13th ranked tackle, and still a 4-star, but a huge rise with Rivals. 24/7 has the 230th ranked player, and ESPN the 214th. So over 100 spot discrepancy between those. And there's been a lot of theories out there on social media that Diakonov is a potential flip candidate. Obviously, we know his ties playing high school with Rider Lions. So there's a lot of rumors out there that he could potentially flip to BYU. So everyone's like, oh, they've moved him up so high just because he's going to flip away from USC. Take that for what you want. That's kind of the rumors out there. Is he a true flip candidate? I think it's hard to say because we know USC's policy. We know, of shutting recruitment down. We know USC's kind of we don't know every single player, but a lot of these players, and this is not just USC, but a lot of programs are kind of paying upfront money to secure so there aren't flips happening because, hey, if you pay up front and then you flip, you owe that back. So I think it's still fairly unlikely. However, when Vlad committed at that time, it was very likely that Ryder was committing as well to USC. And so if they truly do have such a strong connection and want to play college ball together, he's not in a binding contract. He can flip. Obviously, those have to figure out semantics and whether there's paybacks or whatever, which is stuff I don't know. I have not heard of specifically to him and his situation. So this is definitely a story I will for sure keep you guys posted on. I think it's a possibility, but I would still at this point lean more on the side of not happening just because of the guardrails kind of USC has put into place. And I do think Vlad does want to be a Trojan and didn't base his commitment solely on Rider Lions. But, we know how everyone knows when you're a kid, you kind of want to play with your boys. So we'll keep an eye on that. But he was one of the biggest risers in Rivals rankings. Brandon Lockhart, I think he stayed fairly where he was. I think he maybe dropped a tiny bit. 110th overall player nationally, 15th ranked cornerback. Pretty on par with the other sites as well. Running back Sean Alston, he is the 7th ranked running back per Rivals, 122nd ranked national player. Rivals has him as the highest ranked running back of the other 3 recruiting sites. Samote Katanga comes in at the 17th ranked edge for Rivals and the 132nd ranked player. He is much lower compared to the others. 24/7 Sports has him as the 6th ranked edge, so 6 or 17, big discrepancy, and the 56th ranked player, so nearly 100 spot difference between Rivals and 24/7 for Samote. Dude, I think is going to be a baller. I mean, just seeing obviously seeing his high school tape at Santa Margarita, the size. I mean, this kid's going to be a senior and just massive, 6'4", almost 6'5", 260 as an edge. Going to be a senior in high school. I mean, we're talking about he's going to probably look like a Jakeem Stewart when he gets to campus. Have that kind of size, that explosiveness, and just being able to watch him with Coach Henney and Coach Nua. And he was at a USC camp and was able to hit the bags with some of those coaches. And you can just see it dude, this guy's got aggression that is going to be great in Cardinal and Gold. Jonas Williams, quarterback, comes in next. I talked about him a lot. He obviously slid a little bit. 132nd ranked nationally, 17th ranked quarterback for Rivals. He's the 6th ranked quarterback for 24/7. So an 11 spot difference there. Or excuse me, I was still looking at Samote. 147th nationally, 12th ranked quarterback, and 12th ranked quarterback at 24/7. So pretty even there across the 2. Peyton Dyer, the cornerback out of Georgia, he moves up a little bit slightly. 22nd ranked corner, 159th ranked player nationally, which is much higher than ESPN has him at 268, and 24/7 does not have him ranked in their top 247. On our rivals, obviously views Peyton Dyer a lot higher. We know about On3's affiliation kind of with more of the South and the SEC. He's from Georgia, so take that for what you want. Luke Weaver gets a nice bump. Sherman Oaks wide receiver. Still a 4-star, but he bumps up to the 27th ranked corner for rivals and the 189th ranked player. Highest ranking is with rivals. He's the 44th ranked wide receiver with 24/7 and the 68th ranked with ESPN. Neither has him in their top, 300 overall players. So Luke Weaver gets a nice bump with rivals. Roderick Tizino, other receiver, 40th ranked wide receiver, 240th ranked player. Tells you how many good receivers are in this class. He's the 40th ranked receiver and the 240th ranked overall player. So only 200 other position groups outside of receiver above him. Talanoa Ely slides for sure for rivals. He's the 14th ranked linebacker. He's the 3rd ranked linebacker for 24/7. Pretty big jump there. 246th ranked overall player, the 55th ranked player for 24/7. So I do not get the Talanoa Ely slide, Again, I talked about it a bunch in the Jonas Williams video, so I don't want to go too much, but it's so interesting to me, these rankings, these newest updates, aside from the two sites merging, is really contingent on summer camps. No pads, no hitting. And especially like quarterback, I don't agree with some of these adjustments, but at least that, you can make some you can see the arm talent, some of the athleticism, but a linebacker, how do you shift a linebacker? You're not hitting. You're not wearing pads. How do you change a linebacker's rating if not based on game tape? An offense, I know the offensive line and defensive line do one-on-one drills, but that's not what football. You're not one-on-one in football anyway. So, Braden Jones comes in next, 19th ranked defensive lineman. He is also the 251st ranked player. Nice little bump there for Braden Jones, I think. He is the lowest on rivals, though, 166th ranked player on 24/7. Deshaun Rideau, running back out of California, 27th ranked running back, so a definite drop there at the position. 280th ranked overall player. 24/7 has him way higher, 99th overall player, and the 5th ranked running back, which I think is a lot more likely. Deshaun Rideau is going to be a stud. Him and Sean Alston are going to be a dynamic duo for this USC Trojans team when they, come 2026, 2027. And the final player to make the top 300 with, in my opinion, a almost disrespectful drop, offensive tackle Kenai Pepe, consensus 5-star. He drops to a 4-star on rivals, is the 300th ranked player nationally and the 27th ranked offensive tackle. 24/7 has him as the 2nd ranked tackle, the 7th ranked overall player. And ESPN him as the 3rd ranked tackle. So 2nd versus 27th for Kenai Pepe. That is a huge discrepancy. Again, these are based on summer camps or based on people's conspiracies of where you're committed to, whether he dropped for being at USC. I'm not saying that's the case. A lot of people believe that, but I do not agree with that drop at all. So Kenai Pepe, I think, hugely disrespected. The last one that's, I think, also massively disrespected here is Tamahui Tapui. Not even getting in to the top 300. Unranked in terms of the top national. He's a 30th ranked defensive lineman for rivals and dropped to a 3-star based on some one-on-one drills during the summer. 24/7 has him as the 9th ranked, the 77th ranked player, and obviously a 4-star. ESPN has him as the 4th ranked defensive lineman, as the 74th ranked national player. So unranked for rivals, the 30th defensive lineman, plays in the best high school conference in the Trinity League, was the MVP of the Trinity League, was throwing offensive linemen like rag dolls, and somehow, based on some one-on-one reps, loses a star and drops out of the top 300. Riddle me that. Don't get that at all, but it is what it is. So I don't need to go into much. We'll move on from these rankings now. I just wanted to get through them. Those are the top 300. Obviously, USC still has, whatever, terrible math, 14 other commits. Trent Mosley just misses out on the top 300. Eason Tafa. Andrew Williams has a nice rise in their rankings, though. 38th now. Edge player in there, which is definitely the highest among the others. 97 for 24/7, 88 for ESPN. So Andrew Williams with a nice little rise for Rivals. So, you can check the rest out for yourself. I just wanted to get on and talk about the 17 players that did make the top 300. Kenai Pepe should have been way higher, and Tomohini Tupui absolutely should be in the top 300. Like, that is a travesty to me. Travesty. And guess what? He's just going to ball out this year and, prove how good he is, and then when he gets to campus, maybe he'll get some reps as a freshman. So, anyway, that's all I got. Thank you all, as always, for making this a part of your day. If you have not already, hit that like and subscribe button. Become a member. I've seen a couple people have become a member. Huge, huge appreciation. Huge shout out. Barry Fisher, first member. D-Man, 29,990? Or I'll just call you D-Man. You comment a lot. Always appreciate the comments and everything. So, gentlemen, thank you for your recent decision to become a member here. And part of your membership will be donated to help youth sports initiatives right here in Los Angeles. So become a member, everyone else. That would help us out and help out youth sports right here in LA. Thank you as always. I'm Ryan Dyrud, and as always,